40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Sunday Gen 6 Super Speedway Series here on Green White Checker TV. We've got an exciting battle tonight at Talladega Superspeedway ready for you and coming to you live in just a few moments here as we finish up qualifying. Looking forward to that 75-lap scheduled race distance, the advertised distance for tonight's race, as we come to the 6th week of the season, just about to the halfway point and getting ready to gear up for the end of the season in the playoffs in a couple weeks here. But we got to get through this week first and a couple more before we get to that point. In the booth here tonight, you'll hear the voices of myself, Boomer Logan, and my good friend Gael Brooks. Gael, how's it going tonight?
It is going, and saying like you said, we're almost halfway through the season, but we are somehow already halfway through the regular season. So yeah, so we're starting race, like you said, race number 6 here at Talladega, and yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, this will be a time number 3 here, but I think it's the same thing I mentioned last week, and they mentioned it in the interview as well, where we'll see who's going to be able to try and knock that Nightmare Esports team off that top step of the podium. So far, they've been able to sweep the win so far this evening. Cody with 3, John Ellis and Landon Velke with 1 apiece as well. So we'll see if they try to spread the love around, maybe see if we can get Vince in there on the top spot or not. And then, yeah, but like I said, you're going to have all these other guys, so they're going to be kind of vying for that. We'll see about maybe Evan Carlbon as well. We'll see if they can maybe try to make something happen here this evening to maybe, like I said, to stretch out their team's advantage. But yeah, there's going to be some heavy hitters, obviously, that again we know they always step it up here as the season goes on. So be fun to see how things adjust and change over the rest of this race.
Yeah, definitely getting well into the early part of the season here. Almost, like you said, just past the halfway point for the regular season at least. That was last week, and almost the halfway point of the season overall. And, we're starting to talk about points being more important here. So let's take a look at that before we get any further. And you see Cody Nagels, that name at the top of the leaderboard with 196 points. He's got John Ellis Jr. just behind him there with 179. Vicente Guerrero, 164 there in third place. Those guys have been very active at the front of this pack so far, and it's definitely showing with the point totals that they have so far. Maxwell Caldwell, the first driver not for Nightmare Esports in the point standings, he is in the fourth position with 158 points. Landon Velicky there with 152, just behind him in the top five. We have Charles Johnson there in the 149 point total, just ahead of Dean Wilkinson in seventh with 124. 1 point back to Todd Merkel there in eighth place. 2 more points back, you're going to find Jack Walls in ninth. And we've got Dude Conrad and Bob Fitzgerald tied for that 10th place point standings at the moment. Tom Dixon with 116 there in 12th. 1 point back to Brandon Briggs in 13th. Gabe Butler with 112 in 14th. We got Bud Steele and Gary Huffines rounding out the top 16 with 110 and 109 points. And definitely looking forward to that cutoff and how close we get to that in just a couple weeks here. But yeah, looks like races, or qualifying, I should say, has concluded. So we are going to bring up that race grid for you here. And no surprise, at the front of this field, a couple drivers who are very familiar with winning here at Area 51. Cody Nagels, though, grabbing that pole position tonight. Gabe Butler just 7,000ths of a second behind. He's going to be to the outside pole position for your first row. John Ellis is going to be lined up just behind his teammate there with Tom Dixon in the 411 to his outside. Vicente Guerrero, that's 3 Nightmare Esports teammates lined up in the inside lane to start this race tonight. Evan Carlman there in the outside of row number 3 as well in that number 78 machine. We got Justin Davis side by side with Dean Wilkinson for row number 4 and the number 10 and 55 machines respectively. Eric Laurie, Maxwell Caldwell, they will round out your top 10 and your 5th row of the starting grid. Todd Merkel for 1320 Racing Enterprises inside of Bob Fitzgerald in that number 08 machine for 12th position. And we've got a few more to show you here. So Gary Huffines is going to be in that number 13 spot for tonight with Brandon Briggs to his outside representing Team Underdogs. William Roberts there in that number 21 machine, starting 15th with Philip Bridgman to his outside, the first car not to take a qualifying time. And then we've got Bud Steele just behind there in that number 6, also electing not to qualify for tonight as we get ready to roll off and get ready for the green flag here tonight.
Yeah, and so I was looking at what you were talking about on the points as well, Boomer. And one thing to notice I'm already noticing is that the 41 Vicente Guerrero actually in the pit, so either maybe didn't make the grid in time, or maybe was trying to nail some sort of a hardware issue or something. But so I'm going to be curious to see on the start there, what do we see from the teammates? Do they maybe drop back here on the start to try to grab him or not? So we'll see about that one. But it was also on the point side of things because again, I believe it's top 12 that will advance to the playoff. And so I'm looking right now at the points. Tom Dixon at 116 sitting in 12th. But then you go all the way down to 19th place, Hayden Davis, 103. So it's literally a 13-point difference from 12th to 19th in the points. That's going to be very intriguing to see how that's going to come across tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. There's definitely a pretty good mix there in the hunt for that those championship standings. And if we cut it off to 12, definitely be a really solid battle there at the end.
Yeah, I think we maybe have a paint scheme update. So say when you have a moment there for I think maybe Cody's made some late updates maybe for himself or one of the other drivers.
Yep, you see some of the cars. Some of the cars are all white as that rip updates there, but yeah, go ahead.
No, to see, yeah, you'll see them kind of spaz out for a second, then they'll get those lovely paint schemes back in. But yeah, so let's say I'm going to be keeping an eye on Vince and his teammates here on the start. But yeah, so the points, like I said, it's going to be tight, especially again, 17 cars here tonight. So every point's going to be super critical here this evening as they're about to hit the start finish line.
Coming through the tri-oval here, getting ready to go green flag. It's going to be Cody Niggles at the point here with Gabe Butler to his outside green flag for the first of 75 laps tonight.
I can't tell you, just saw Vince rolling, so he is on his way. Again, he's going to lose the draft here, but what I'm going to be watching for is those teammates to see, do they drop back to pick him up or not? So we'll see. I'm kind of wondering, like he mentioned, there was a couple of them lined up in the inside road. Do they maybe drop apron here out of 2? And so far, no change. So we'll see as that goes. But yeah, right now that top side definitely locked in nicely with Gabe has a nose ahead.
Yeah, Gabe getting a really good push from Tom Dixon down the back straightaway. Gabe is clear. He's going to stick with the 411, at least for now, and the 78 as they run on the top side of the speedway. That's going to allow the 16 of Cody Niggles to power back through on the inside of turns 3 and 4. And yes, as you mentioned, staying put for now, the 16 and the 4. Ooh, little contact between the 88 and the 16. No harm, no foul. We'll keep rolling here as they're a little bit 3 wide there. Dean Wilkinson pushing the 411 to the top side.
Yeah, and 3 wide already here with Gabe now in the middle, Tom on the top side, but he's got a teammate behind him there. That's Dean Wilkinson. But yeah, right now it's a good group of drivers on all 3 lanes here. Evan Carlbon talked about him before, giving Gabe a good push. Oh, look at the movement. That's going to cause trouble. That's going to send Tom Dixon around the 14, around the 55. We've got half the field, if not more, involved in this one, Boomer.
Yeah, that was a big wreck early on here. There's definitely a lot of cars. Oh, some contact at the end, and apologies to see the white cars there. That was the 071 slamming into the back of the 94 there a little late after the caution had already flown. And yeah, there's going to be some torn up race cars here at the back of this pack for sure. Let's see if we can try and get a good point here to go back and rewind to. So you can kind of understand where exactly this started here. And you see it on the back straightaway, Tom Dixon getting turned down into Davis, the 14, then coming up into the 94 that hits the 55 into the outside wall. And yeah, at that point, 98 goes around. Man, Brandon Briggs just barely getting through there, tapping the 98 just a little bit. But I mean, there's a lot of contact for a lot of cars here.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement going around there. And yeah, no, unfortunately, just yeah, everybody just kind of sliding around, and then yeah, just the way all the cars are pretty much all just perpendicular to the track, and so as wide as the track is, that just yeah, everything kind of closes up. Yeah, I did see Brandon get a little piece of that as well. I think Philip Bridgman and Bud Steele may be the only ones that got through there cleanly in that second half. And remember that whole concern I had for Vicente starting from the pits? That man's looking like a genius on that one because he was able to just sneak through that completely unscathed. So now we're going to have that tough decision, Boomer. Fast repair versus no fast repair. Unfortunately, though, Justin Davis, one of those in that points battle for that top 12, looks like he's had to take a tow to pit road.
Yeah, unfortunately, that tow is going to hinder a little bit. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to get back to pit road, which tries to add to as much realism as we can have here in the sim side of things. But talking about pit road, we're going to have a couple drivers coming down here. Gabe Butler, Evan Carlbon, Cody Nagels, Brandon Briggs, Todd Merkel, your top 5 as they come down pit road. And it looks like we have all of the schemes updated finally with trading paints here. So can look at these beautiful Gen 6 machines and see all the wonderful colors and sponsors that we have on these cars.
Yeah, and obviously we have one that we'll highlight because I say yes to make sure it was showing correctly because he put some good work into it. So we'll definitely get that one a little love. And Boomer, I think he may have been able to avoid the getting busted there. I'm going to go back for Justin Davis and double check if it's a tow or not because he's rolling. He's on track, and I see him on the lead lap still on my end. So that I'll actually I may still be one. I'll wait for it to update.
Yeah.
That said, though, he was able to get out there and make sure he didn't go 2 down regardless. I mean, that's a huge break for him. And then I'm going to double check on our boy Gabe Butler because I think he may have pulled the sneaky that he loves to do and just rolled through pit road and just go ahead and get that bonus lap led right off the kick. And nope, he just had a really quick pit stop. I just checked.
Yeah, just fuel only looks like there. Fuel only for just about everybody, but from about 5th on back, actually, everybody taking 4 tires or repairing some damage, and a couple more towards the back of the pack, including Dean Wilkinson, John Ellis, Evan Carlbon, Justin Davis, Eric Laurie. Obviously, Justin coming back down pit road to avoid going another lap down, but these guys are all on pit road a little bit longer here, trying to get some extra damage repaired and see if they can try not to burn that fast repair. But hey, it's the first caution of the night, which gives us an opportunity very early on to talk about our amazing partners here at Green White Checker TV, and the first of which is no stranger to Area 51, that's 4D Racewear. So let's hear from them real quick, and we will be right back with the action at Talladega Superspeedway.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
And you hear from 4D Racewear. Always appreciate Jim Herrick and the boys over on Tuesday nights in the IndyCar series and all the support that they've given to Area 51 over the years. Trying to show a little bit of love for them with the commercials, and try to support them as well. So we will have Gabe Butler on the point. He and three others, total of 4 cars, are going to come down just that first time. Everybody else coming down pit road again to get a splash of fuel and try and go a little bit further in this race. Obviously, you see from the 16 of Nagels on back, everybody there electing to pit a second time, which means they will be single file all the way to the back of the field, and you see them beautiful Budweiser red colors for the 16 of Nagels there. We'll get a chance to shout out that wonderful paint scheme that we finally got updated here, but green flag will be back on the speedway for lap number 5 here of 75 for the advertised distance.
Yeah, it looks like it was, again, a little bit of bumper tech on the restart there on the bottom line. Again, that when you got that long snake single file restart, I always get nervous, but looks like everybody's been able to get through clean. I'm hoping Brandon gets a little tighter to the back of Dean Wilkinson right now. He's about 6/10, and it's starting to go the wrong way. And then we talked about drivers opting to fast repair versus manual repairs. That 39 looks clean, so I think he's good to go, but right now he just needs to try to just get that little extra sniff of draft, and I think right now Justin Davis is being that good teammate and try to make sure he pulls him on in, so I think they're going to be good to go here. Yeah, it looks like up front, Gabe has the point for the moment. So you got Cody right behind him there, like you said, in that really cool looking number 16 scheme. So we'll be, like I said, we'll get some closer looks on that one. So that's definitely a familiar paint scheme that we've seen a lot here. Doing very well at Daytona and Talladega. As up top, though, is going to be the 21 William Roberts. He's going to hop to the top side, and he's going to bring some friends. Gabe's going to say, no, I want to keep going top. Nope. He's going to go right to the bottom there. Gabe's going to have to try to figure out where he wants to go in the 98 here as well. Gary Huffines, he's going to drop low.
A little squirrely.
A bobble. Looks like they're hanging on to it there, but unfortunately for Gabe, just didn't quite choose the right line there, and so he's going to fall back a little bit here.
Man, what a move for the 21 there of William Roberts to grab that lead. We'll see if he's rewarded with a bonus point for leading this lap lead. It looks like he's going to get it here. No, actually, Gabe Butler at the line is going to get that lap lead. They're 3 wide, though, all over the track. And, yeah, this definitely early on, but we're starting to ramp up here as far as some of the excitement in this race.
And again, yeah, a lot of moving these drivers trying to get themselves aligned here. Cody does not want to stay pinned behind the 88. He's going to get to the middle. He's going to pick up Vince here because Vince was able to actually run the inside line and get ahead of all his teammates there. So now he's going to actually be the one to lead the charge on that second lane here. So again, you're going to see there's a big bump there. See a little wiggle out to 14. But again, these guys are so used to what they're being taken, kind of used to the pushes and everything from one another. So now there you go, the 21, the William Roberts. Oh, big move up top. That gave him a big shot, chased him up the track, separates the teammates for a little bit more contact further back. I saw the 14 of John Ellis have to chase that thing and hang on to it. Man, these guys are working on saving those cars, but we do have a couple further back there that did fall off the group there, and that is Justin Davis, Brandon Briggs, and Bob Fitzgerald. But again, though, some of the movement we've seen up front, though, might be a safe place.
Yeah, it may not be the worst place to be for those guys right there. Obviously, unintentional for them to break the draft, but who knows? Maybe it is because actually we saw last week where the 10 and the 39 tried to do this a few times actually, and at some point they were able to get back up and be in the mix. But yeah, I think that's very intentional from them at this point. After seeing what they did last week in previous races as well, just to try and avoid the chaos, because I mean you can see the amount of energy that is in this pack is honestly very, very exciting so far early on. I mean, we're only on lap number 10, and we've seen some really aggressive moves from the top to the bottom, vice versa, some crossovers, and these guys, I mean, we've talked about it with these Gen 6 cars. They seem to reward more of that kind of behavior than not, so we do see some of that aggression starting to play out as the 14 is going to try and make a move to the bottom here, and that's going to put Eric Laurie out to dry in the outside lane and put the 14 up into the top 5.
Yeah, so that move got him one of the spots of his teammates. You saw that as soon as he dropped low, all of his teammates again they're in communication. Said, "Yeah, let's get you up here, all right." And so he moved low, able to get low of Eric Laurie, and then they said, "All right, here we go, going to the bottom, try to get you the draft." And Gabe's like, "I know this game," and so he jumped right there to the bottom with them. So what I want to see is, and I'm starting to see it form, is what does that second lane do? It's got a ways to go, but that's right now, and it's only just the two. So I'm waiting for that 7 to Philip Bridgman. But I'm watching Gary Huffines there working with the 21 here as well of William Roberts. We've talked about that middle outside group. It seems like the momentum on the top side is definitely a good place to be. So I want to see how they start to charge, and then do we see any response? I was eyeballing Maxwell and Todd Merkel. Maybe they would try to pull something there to try to lead that pack. But right now, it looks like they're pretty content here to roll on that inside line.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they're choosing to roll there on the inside, allowing that high side to be there. I mean, who knows? Maybe it doesn't matter too much, but we have seen where whoever's in the lead is able to kind of hold that high line and keep everybody else from getting a chance to get any further ahead. I think the 41, the 16, and the 14 are probably trying to figure out what they can do to get the three of them lined up nose to tail. But obviously they've got Carlbin and Butler there in between them, some two savvy racers that are going to try and do what they can to avoid that happening. Because obviously when we've seen the 41, the 16, and the 14 link up this season, it has been very successful for them. So you see as they move to the top now, the 78 and the 88 are going to stay there as well.
I'm wondering, was that the same thing? They saw the outside lane starting to creep up there, so all right, let's go ahead and get that topped off again. Do need to mention Dean actually has fallen off the back, as I believe the 411 now of Tom Dixon. So it looks like these guys are dropping back to maybe grab that Justin Davis, Brandon Briggs, Bob Fitzgerald group. So that's going to turn that group into about 5 cars from 13th to 17th, with right now Bud Steele being the last car now in this main pack. So curious if that was, again, maybe trying to get out of some of the craziness, or, again, it is easy to get dropped here if you're that last car in the group. So, but right now, though, I mean, those guys up front, though, and you can see they have now got all 4 teammates lined up in all of this. So they say that's job number 1 done for them. So now we'll see again. Do these guys that are 5th on back, do they ride to say, okay, just let them burn all the fuel? Or at some point, do we see them try to make that charge and find a way to try to control these races?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen them at the top there doing this quite a bit this season. Obviously, now that they've got the 4 lined up there, obviously they were able to shuffle Gabe Butler out of that mix. He's back to 5th place. And for Gabe, he does have the help behind him. Obviously, there's a car between. The 21 is there, but the 071, actually 2 cars behind, 3 cars behind, sorry, even 2 cars in between for the 071. Really the only teammate that Gabe Butler has tonight. But obviously, Gabe Butler, definitely a known, very strong racer in this league. I mean, numerous wins and championships over many, many seasons. So I don't think he'll have too many problems with getting people to help him at some point. But there's definitely a pretty solid front group here of the teammates lined up, all 4 in the outside lane. And we've seen when they do this trainer on the top, it's so hard for anybody in the middle or the bottom lanes to really get organized enough to get up there. You have to really be aggressive with the side draft and really be connected as far as a push goes down the, from those 2 lanes to be able to get up to that top 4. And as you can see, it's about a 6 to 7 car breakaway in the outside lane here now.
Yeah, and in my mind at this point, also maybe it's just one of those things like, hey, maybe we'll work on saving a little bit. But as soon as I say that, Gabe was waiting for that momentum to shift from the 88 the car down to the 21 car, and then he went low. And as soon as they did that, they went from the top to the middle here. You talk about that side draft trying to slow that momentum down once more. So yeah, I'll be curious to see at what point again do we see. Or do we see kind of one of those things where let him focus on one thing and then you jump for the other and someone tries to work the top side to kind of get to the right rear of those guys and trying to kind of pin him in the middle. So, but yeah, right now though you can see though they're trying to keep control of that pack. But again though, once they get there, then they lock on and try to just basically push and shove all the way through. And you can see, I mean, it's the first 3. It's not even just the first 2 that are pushing. That third car there, the 78 of Evan Carbon, also just shoving those guys through. So that say when you got 2 drafting, you go quicker. When you got 3 locked on like that, again, it's a little riskier, but you can make a ton of speed as you just saw there.
Yeah, that is probably the most aggressive thing that you can do, and definitely something to be careful with when you're in a position where you're pushing the pusher. Obviously, you remember the Daytona 500 from a couple years ago where the 34 Michael McDowell won the race and basically pushed was it Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano as they were pushing each other, and the 2 front cars just split part of the Red Seas, and big wreck behind him, but that third car ended up okay. So pushing the pusher in just about any style of car on these super speedway races can be that very dangerous, razor's edge kind of game. But they seem to be doing a pretty good job of it, and for the most part, they're pretty lined up. And honestly, this kind of reminds me of what you see a little bit in the Xfinity series, where obviously it's not just one driver like it is in the Xfinity series. You've got 4 here, but like Austin Hill, in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series now, you see Austin Hill having, one of the fastest cars and one of the best strategies. Oh, we're going to have a little bit of a spin here. 98, Gary Huffines goes around, saves it for the most part, but he's going to be well off the draft.
Yeah, it's going to hurt a handful of them there. Philip Bridgman as well, William Roberts. And I was saying it's one of those good news, bad news where because the car stayed pointed straight, it doesn't bring out the yellow, which unfortunately puts them in a terrible position now. Yeah. So it's just, yeah, it's a tough spot to be in on those. So, so unfortunately they stay green on this one, and it puts some of those guys in a really tough spot. Do they need to come in now and take that fast rear, try to limp around? Like I said, some of those guys I think maybe have a little worse damage, but what they got to do now is get themselves lined up to, like, I think William Roberts needs to drop back to Gary Huffines if he can. And unfortunately in all of this too, at some point Brandon Briggs lost that 5-pack we talked about. And so he's just been off on his own last handful of laps. So yeah, it's starting to really, or even before pit stops, it's really starting to dwindle and split up. So now we only have, looks like 9 cars in this lead pack, which is going to make strategy very difficult for these guys in this main pack here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, as the race goes on, typically we'll see, especially as we get into green flag pit cycles, this herd at the front of the pack is going to slowly dwindle down. Unfortunate to see it happen from an incident that didn't cause a caution that does break up the field quite a bit there. We've got one group, from first to about 9th, then from 10th to about 14th. and then obviously the pack further on back with William Roberts, Gary Huffines, and Brandon Briggs at the back there. But to my point here, or the point I was trying to make that I was taking forever to get to, was just that this team up here, obviously Nightmare Esports, really has had control of the field, kind of like you see in the O'Reilly series with Austin Hill. And it's going to come down to, I think, Gabe Butler obviously has one teammate in Eric Laurie. You see the two teammates for Merkle Enterprises or 1320 Enterprises, the 94 and the 2, and then you've got the lone Roswell Motorsports number 6 in this pack. So if the guys from Bootnaka or 1320 or Roswell want to try and win this race, they're going to have to work together. And we've seen before, just like with Austin Hill, where if you're not willing to work together, that guy's going to win the race. And in this case, it might just be Nightmare Esports, who has really controlled, obviously, every stage of even tonight, but every stage of the way for this whole season so far.
Yeah, and it's going to be what we talked about. I think last week there was a really good chance at it, but it's going to basically have to be kind of total commitment with the other drivers, where whoever's leading the group that's going to be contending against them, he's got to hope and kind of plan on, okay, I'm going to make this move at this point. I need you to go with me, and so on and so forth. Versus sometimes they get a little antsy, and it'll be like the third or fourth driver in line that winds up making the move, and it's just a little bit too soon, and it kind of just doesn't go the right way. So, yeah, it's got to be kind of full coordination. And speaking of that, we got 4 drivers in pit road all together here. That's going to be Dean Wilkinson, Tom Dixon, Justin Davis, and Bob Fitzgerald. And so I believe the scheduled pit stop here, this is on lap
Looks like
22, and that's with that pit stop around lap 4 or so. And I do see the Nightmare guys also have migrated from top to bottom, so expect to see a pretty big group here, I would think, this time.
Yeah, looking to see just about everybody peel off, and it looks like everybody in this lead pack, all 9 of them, are going to come down pit road this time by. We'll make sure everybody gets down to pit road. Oh, it's so treacherous. The 6 goes for a little bit of a spin in front of the 2.
Gonna get out looped around.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to only hurt Bud. But yeah, tough to lose the front end. But man, it's incredible. Whenever we zoom in to watch these guys coming down pit road, they are absolutely on the very edge of grip and brakes every single time they come down pit road in this league.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be pretty much picture perfect, because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to lose the draft. And Bud's so close to having that thing saved, unfortunately. You could kind of see he was trying to get that thing to rotate back to the right, just never did. And so, yeah, so unfortunately, that's what got him there. So the big winner here on pit road is going to be obviously John Ellis. You can see he's kind of run away with that exit. But it looks like you're going to have at least the top 5. I feel pretty safe in saying they should get all back together. It's going to take some work for the second group here: Eric Laurie, Evan Carlbon, Todd Merkel, to really try to get, like I said, it's going to be 8 if all goes well. Unfortunately, obviously for Bud Steele, it's not going to do the work the way he was hoping for. But I also have to say, for the Dean Wilkinson, the quad group, now that's going to be a trifecta, because unfortunately they've lost Justin Davis in that pit stop cycle. And so, but plus side is he's got Bud Steele to work with now. So yeah, so again, just slowly, unfortunately, losing a couple guys here and there. Right now, you do have that top 3 breakaway, but I think you'll see Vince here is going to get picked up here by Cody, and that's going to get the other guys right on track here. And actually, I believe one of them probably dropped back to pick the other one up. And Eric Laurie, you can see, took the momentum to the top here, and that's not going to go to plan, because he's going to have to try to fall back now in behind that 2 of Todd Merkel.
Yeah, but I think with that, they should be able to hold on to that lead pack, and we should have all the way through about 8th place in there now. So we did lose a couple in that pit cycle, but actually Eric Laurie, a little concerning here, a little bit further back off of the rear bumper of Todd Merkel than I would like to see, and he is falling back, so he is actually going to drop to, I think, the group of Tom Dixon. Yeah, you can see it there. 411, 55, and 08 are in this second pack at the moment, and Eric is going to have to unfortunately settle for joining them for now. But John Ellis, like you mentioned, he was that winner as he comes to the front, but now his teammates are going to line up on the top, and it looks like that order is going to be reversed. Even though he got out first, he executed it so well that his teammates were unfortunately too far ahead of him, and now he's going to get shuffled to the back, and we'll see him be the back of the Nightmare Esports group. as now it's just Gabe Butler in this lead pack, and 2 of the 1320 Enterprise drivers, the 94 of Maxwell Caldwell and the 2 of Todd Merkel.
Yeah, and so like I said, and I went like I said, I was watching as it happened. Also, the field's going to come up here, Brandon Briggs. So Brandon's got to pedal hard here, and just try to find a way to get tied onto the back of these guys to basically just stay in this main draft and not have to fall back once more. But yeah, so what happened is when they were going to pick up that second pack to pull back up to the front pack, Eric Laurie saw the checkup happening, and so he jumped up top to kind of go around, and then that's when they got locked on and started pushing. And at that point, the momentum was too great, basically, for him to tie on to the back of those guys, and so unfortunately, that was what happened there, and that dropped him. So, like I said, we'll see for Brandon because again, it's the same thing. These guys are at full song, so he's just got to hope there's like a little bit of a delay that way he can just sniff that draft enough to pull in here. But it's the same thing. It's going to be probably tight here. And yeah, I think he's unfortunately already out of that draft window himself. So he's going to fall back to that group with Eric Laurie, hopefully able to tag on to him, Dean Wilkinson, Bob Fitzgerald, and Tom Dixon.
Yeah, that's tough. Obviously, you saw him drift up just a little bit off of 4, and obviously not sure if that was enough to lock him out of the draft, but definitely with how fast these guys are moving. I mean, there's probably a 20-mile-an-hour difference at least between when you're riding by yourself and when you're running in that pack with at least 3 to 4 cars behind you, and it's just a product of how much drag these cars have with these, as Dale Jr. once said, these giant ass spoilers. They're so big they have to be clear at the top so that you can see behind them. But a lot of drag on these cars, and obviously, unfortunately for the 39, that's going to make it much more difficult for him to hold on to that lead draft, and also why earlier we saw and have talked about losing a pack is so much easier to do in these cars. And I don't think John Ellis is in the danger zone for doing that, but definitely something to keep an eye on, especially when he's got a couple of teammates there up at the front of it. But they've definitely shown that they'd be willing to go back and get him if they need to.
Yeah, so no, I'm watching lap times, and it's not quite as fast as the top group, but they are doing pretty well in that second pack. As here goes the movement game again, where I think they're going to try to get the teammates. I would assume here all aligned, or is this a situation where they're trying to maybe not be the one to lead the draft and burn the most fuel? But you can see though, Gabe is wanting nothing of it. He's like, yeah, no, I'll go with you. And then Cody's like, oh
Yep.
no, I want to go back down. It's like, oh okay, well yeah, I'll go with you then. And it's one of those, yeah, just trying to break up those dancing partners as best he can. So yeah, so Gabe's trying to do everything he can here, but yeah, you can see they're trying to figure out the organization that they want to have here in this one.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to say games being played, but definitely some organization, let's call it. And obviously, the Nightmare Esports guys trying to do as much as they can to organize with each other. But man, I mean, to me that just shows the professional and the experience of Gabe Butler. And he's like, "No, I'm not having any of it. I'm gonna try and do what I can to improve myself and keep you guys from lining up here." And it shows with obviously Maxwell Caldwell now up at the front of this pack with his teammate Todd Merkel. And yeah, why don't we'll take a chance to bring up the uh, fancy new graphics that Mr. Gael Brooks has given to us. And while he was first, he's fading on back, so we'll start back up at the front. Todd Merkel currently in that first position in that number 2 Ford Mustang. Cody Nagels here started on the pole in that number 16. Apologies that the graphics are not updated in the or the page is not updated in the graphics, but obviously you can see the beautiful cars that we have on track. So Cody Nagels currently in that second position, down one from his original starting position of the pole. And then we've got Gabe Butler currently in third. He's got 8 laps led at the moment, and in a position a little bit to try and see what he can do to get that extra bonus point for the most laps led. As you see there, the 16 and the 78 are going to move to the outside and screw up my through the field opportunities. But we'll bring up Evan Carlbarn. Carl Bunn, I should say, not Bourne. He is now in that second position. He's only led 1 lap, but that's enough for a bonus point for him there. And Vicente Guerrero is coming up to the third position. He's got quite a few laps led himself there in that third spot now as they move forward. We'll skip Todd Merkel. We'll go back to Gabe Butler, currently in the 5th position. And then just behind him is Maxwell Caldwell in that number 94. again, for 1320 Enterprises. John Ellis is just hanging on to the back of this lead pack here. He's got a couple laps led, but he's currently in 7th and just kind of riding it out. Obviously, he's got some teammates there at the front of this pack, and we're just trying to wait and see what will happen at the next caution or green flag opportunity. And off the rear bumper of this 14, it's going to be this 4-man group led by the 411 of Tom Dixon here, currently in that 8th position, down 4 from his original starting position. He does have the help of Dean Wilkinson in that number 55 just behind him there, still inside that top 10. And the last car in the top 10 you'll see is Bob Fitzgerald in that 08 for the Air Force machine, that Ford Mustang. Eric Laurie, we mentioned, lost the draft from that lead pack and somewhat in danger of losing the draft of this pack here right now, but still within about half a second. So really nothing to be too concerned about, but he is dropping a little bit more than I'd like to see. But he is currently in that 11th position, and there he goes, catches right back up, no problem. We're going to go back another about 14 seconds here. We're going to find the McDonald's machine of Justin Davis and the Navy Ford Mustang of Bud Steele. A couple Fords here working together tonight. About 21, 22 seconds-ish off of the leaders at the moment here. Another 7 seconds back, you'll find the 7 of Philip Bridgman here with William Roberts and Gary Huffines. All of this is a battle for the lead lap at the moment still. And we're only losing, for Philip Bridgman, William Roberts, Gary Huffines, we're only losing about 3 to 4 tenths of a second a lap compared to that lead draft, thankfully. And that helps a little bit, but definitely see where some of the single car or the 2-car packs like Justin Davis and Bud Steele running almost a second off of the pace, and that is going to make a big difference as far as being able to stay where they are with just about everybody on the lead lap. And it does look like we have Brandon Briggs not being shown on track, so he's going to be an early retiree for that number 39. But you see that beautiful Budweiser paint scheme that he's rocking, and unfortunately will be starting 17th and will be finishing 17th for tonight.
Yeah, I've been watching up front. As I say, they've been moving again a little bit. I saw the 16 of Cody Nagels. He went ahead and dropped back from the lead to right in front of his teammate there in the 14 of John Ellis. And I'm kind of wondering if this is migrated into one of those potential races that you don't want to lead to make sure you get the fuel mileage to not have to do one extra stop or not. I'm not seeing the pace. Well, actually, I do say that. As I say, I don't see the pace dropping a ton, but actually they're into the mid 48s now. And which is great news, though, for Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, because last time by, they were about 0.2 of a second quicker. So, again, they still have a long ways to go. They're about a half a backstretch away distance-wise. Obviously, like you mentioned on the timing and scoring boomer, you can see they're about a 7-second gap off the lead, about 6.5 seconds off the pack, the last car, the main pack ahead of them, which at this point is John Ellis, like we just mentioned. So it's still a lot of work to do, but if the pace kind of continues to drop a little bit like it has, could be an opportunity for those guys to try to claw some time back. So it's going to take a lot of work and probably a little bit of luck, but again, we know those guys will stay committed to each other for sure here through the remainder. So, and then on that front too, Boomer, not this time but I believe in 2 laps time, we'll get to that halfway point. Now, same thing. You see the 78. Now he's going to drop further back here. Now the 41's going to drop on back. I'm wondering, are these guys maybe going to try to pull one of those sneaky pit stops and try to jump in late before anybody else has a chance to react to it?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, obviously they're at the back end of this pack now. The 41 and the 78 should join the 16 and the 14 towards the back half of that lead draft there, as the 88 and the 94 are now in the podium positions, and good team organization to get down to the bottom. And I mean, sometimes that's helpful. I mean, I think we've got a long way to go, enough of a long way to go that, if they do come a lap or two earlier, I don't think it's going to matter a ton. But obviously their goal would be to try and pit on a different lap than the 3 ahead of them, to give them an opportunity to try and see if they can stretch a lead or break away from this pack. And obviously every time we've pit here under green flag conditions, we've lost a few here and there, and lost a few after the first restart. So it's going to be a big difference, and it puts them in a position to at least pit on a different strategy if they are at the back of this pack, because obviously if they come down late, then nobody ahead of them has that opportunity to answer that call, like you mentioned there, Gaio.
And with that, the previous lap, it was in the mid 49 seconds. This time it's a 49.19. So again, we talked, what did I say, 7 seconds the last time I mentioned
Yeah.
it? It's now down to under 5 seconds. And I'm wondering if this is the reaction from us like, hey, wait, they're going way slower. We got to go. So they're locking on again here. You can see the big wiggles from these pushes, again, from all three of those top three cars. And so they're going to try to make another charge here. So honestly, if I'm that group with Todd Merkel, Gabe Butler, and Maxwell Caldwell, I'm actually okay with this because I want them to be leading this field here. That way I react to them. I don't have to worry about them jumping in early. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, so what you'll see here is you can see they're going to try to break away. And yeah, like I said, that previous lap house was in the 49s. Now they're back in the high 47. So kind of tells you what the pace had done there. But like I said, little things like that. If those big bubble there, you can see Vicente had a moment there. Cody had to react to it, jump up top there. And yeah, say the driver's king up, say, hey, got to do a bit of a checkup here because they're trying to get Cody back on in. So yeah, so no, the pace definitely picked back up there. I think I just heard the 55 40 11 08 here about to hit pit road.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that and see if anybody comes down. No one from this lead pack, so we'll see. It looks like the 55 here is going to come down pit road. Man, a whole heck of a lot of steam and a lockup for the 55. Hopefully, oh, that's going to be in the
That
grass.
might be a little too fast.
I don't know. He did get into the grass after the commitment cone, but it still could be a pit road violation here. Man, and the 411 swerving a little bit. I wonder if he's out of gas, maybe?
It's possible. And I am looking, and I do not see a penalty on that 55 car, even with his off-roading excursions. The one I do see a black flag on, though, is that number 10, unfortunately, of Justin Davis. And so that puts Bud Steele in a tough spot. So I heard Todd Merkel key up saying he's got to pit this time. So we'll see. Are they going to all come? Yep, here they all coming together for a lead pack.
Yep, lead pack on pit road. Man, some smoke from a few drivers, and it is a choreographed dance for these drivers to get down to pit road speed without a penalty. And you see they're just about 3 wide here, so they're going to have to sort this out. Obviously, the 88 and the 16 are going to go the furthest distance on pit road, but there we go. The 14 gets his chance to get into his pit stall, and the 88 is going to go in there as well. Always have to remind everybody that when you see so you see the black, the white, the black line. To the left of that is asphalt. To the right of that is concrete, at least in this view. It'll be driver's left and would be the concrete. Once you get into that zone, you can drive through other cars. You are a ghost car, but anywhere on the asphalt, either on the racing surface or on pit road, you do have the chance for a collision there. But the 41 and the 14 getting connected here early on as they come off of pit road. The 80 is somewhere in between, and then Cody Nagels and Evan Carlbin there are going to have a head of steam. So looking to see this 78 and this 16 probably going to take a chance to get around this 88 and get up to the lead there. Maxwell Caldwell's a little bit further on back. In decent position. I don't think he's in danger of losing this pack, but the two of Todd Merkel absolutely is. He does have the lap car of Philip Bridgman with him. Maxwell's in trouble too. Yep. Yeah, that gap is
they're gone.
Yeah, now 1.3 seconds back. This is going to be a breakaway for the top 5 here. So it is Gabe Butler and the Nightmare Esports drivers for now.
Yeah, so what Maxwell's got to do is he's got to drop back to Todd Merkel, who does have help from the 7 of Philip Bridgman. And then that way, at least, again, minimize time loss right now. And then we'll see how their pace is, because with everything that happened in that other pack, actually, I'm looking to see. So Dean Wilkinson did not get a speeding penalty. However, he took 4 tires on his pit stop, I believe by mistake. And so that's an extra about 5 seconds. And so that's got Dean out of the running there. So that's now Dean and Tom Dixon, just the 2 of them. Bob Fitzgerald, Eric Laurie together, the 2. And then now you got the 3 of Maxwell Caldwell, Philip Bridgman, and Todd Merkel. So yeah, so again, the field is, I'm looking kind of at the track map right now, Boomer, and there's about 6 separate packs right now of cars. Well, actually, it's going to be 5. Bud Steele's going to get caught here by Gary Huffines and William Roberts. because again, like I had mentioned, unfortunately, the 10 car of Justin Davis had that penalty that dropped him away from Bud Steele. So yeah, right now we've just got kind of a bunch of groups of about 2 to 3 to looks like what 6 or 5 in the lead pack. So yeah, it definitely has spread out for sure now.
Yeah, we're not going to go entirely through the field, but we'll just give you an idea of what that looks like. So you see here, obviously Vicente Guerrero leading this race, John Elliott's. Gabe Butler is in the middle of the Nightmare Esports sandwich with Cody Nagels and Evan Carbon in the top 5 at the moment. Todd Markle and Maxwell Caldwell have found each other as well as the lap car, 1 lap down of Philip Bridgman. At the moment here, he is your lucky dog candidate, which helps him, and he's going to let those 2 drivers try and do what they can to minimize the damage as far as falling on back and trying to push as much as they can. And we'll go back to Bob Fitzgerald. He's about 10 seconds off the rear bumper of Maxwell Caldwell, about 15 seconds off of the lead. So Bob Fitzgerald and Eric Laurie working together here. Another 6 seconds back, you're going to find Tom Dixon and Dean Wilkinson coming out of turn 2. Further on back, we mentioned that pack. So now entering turn 1 is 10. So the 10 will be a lapped car. He'll be in 16th position. The 21 of William Roberts is on the lead lap. Gary Huffines and Bud Steele also on the lead lap, as the moment Bud being the last car there on the lead lap. And that's pretty much everybody, as obviously Brandon Briggs, we mentioned, has pulled off of the speedway and is done for the night. So again, we'll go back and actually, as we see it here, somehow Gabe Butler managed to become the second car in the Nightmare Esports train here.
Yeah, like I said, there's definitely some shuffling going on around, and yeah, no, Gabe's between a rock and a hard place to put it nicely at this point. So, like I said, I thought before when they all dropped back, they'd maybe try to do like a short pit or pit early type situation, and then that's where the kind of the pace of the race dropped off, and then they kind of took back over. So, yeah, the problem is now here is for Gabe is yeah, he's kind of in a tough spot here. So my thought on this one is because it seems like a lot of times we'll see the leading driver kind of jump up, drop to the back, and it might be a thing where they're all managing their fuel enough to make sure they can make it to the end of one more stop because we're down to 30 to go, and I believe at this point they should be able to make it not from here, but in general they should be able to make it on one more stop to the end. Everybody pitting around lap 39, lap 40, with us being right now on lap 46. So yeah, they should be able to go another, I think, what, 15? I feel like they've got about 20-ish per tank, somewhere in that window. I should probably do the math on that. But yeah, so what I'm thinking though, Boomer, is if we see that trend continue where maybe John Ellis jumps to the top, if I'm Gabe, I say I go right to the top with him. And here you go. I say right on cue, John's going to go top. And if I'm Gabe here, yeah, I was there. Do that exact thing. Say, yeah, you guys go right on by. I don't want to take the top. And can he slot in behind Vicente? Yes, he can.
Yeah, it just
Love
looks
it
like it.
what Gabe does there. You see John there. He was definitely. I don't think he chopped the nose. I think Gabe was definitely
No.
more than clear there. But yeah, Gabe is not gonna have any part of it, and I am all here for it. Like I said, he is having to fight strategy and race craft all in one right now to do everything in his power to not have them put him in a tough spot here to try to throw him off this main pack.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody is capable of doing it, it would be the 88 of Gabe Butler. I mean, we've mentioned, how much experience he has here. I mean, how many championships, race wins in that number 88, that Guinness machine. But I mean, it was obviously a smaller field tonight for Team Bootnaka Esports, but Gabe has always been, one of the very first people in the teams, really. Credit to the whole team. But Gabe's mindset of, you're nothing without your teammates, which if I've heard him say it once, I've heard him say it 1,000 times, and that's probably maybe not accurate, but I mean dozens, if not hundreds of times, is probably accurate. And Nightmare Esports is really just picking up that page from the same book that Gabe Butler wrote, and with some of his teammates here, and led to so much success in the Super Speedway style of racing. So it is cool to see Gabe Butler. I mean, I don't think you count him out of it. Obviously, there is, when you've got 4-1, it's definitely a lot more difficult to manage that as the 88 of Gabe Butler there in this lead pack. But man, if anybody can rise to the occasion, it will be that 88 Guinness machine.
Yeah, no, Gabe is very very good at what he does, like you said, and right now it's the numbers situation. The numbers aren't on his side because again it's four of them and one of him, but he is doing everything in his power that he can to basically keep himself in the hunt here. And so, like I said, the best thing he's got going for him is he's got other cars coming up soon to maybe try to kind of put a little wrench into things. And that's like we mentioned, it's the 10 car, the 21 car, the 98, and the 6. So there's four cars there that the leaders are slowly catching. Right now, they are in turn three as the leaders are halfway down the backstretch. And again, there's still one more pit stop too. So if even more separation happens, again, that's where we have to keep an eye on things. So yeah, so no, I really like what Gabe is doing here, and yeah, he's just got to basically again, he's got to do exactly what they do in this situation. And right now, again, 26 to go, 25 here at the line, so hit the 2/3 mark right here. So yeah, so again, I think another five-ish laps should get us in the window. But yeah, he's gonna have to do everything right, just to even have a chance to just be it to make sure he's in this pack here, coming to the last stage of the race here.
Yeah, we're like you said, 25 laps to go, so probably about 7 laps or so before we're into that window. It does help everybody pit last on lap 40 or 39, so that puts about 35, 36 laps to the end. You know, dividing that in half, that's about 17 and a half, 18 laps, depending on how far you can go. And I think it's close, but it's within that window here. And that's just the way that caution fell early on to set up that cycle to the end. So everybody trying to see what they can do to make it here. Obviously, the pace has picked up a little bit, but it's also slowed down in some ways where the leaders are still running about 48 flats, 48.08 for our leader here. A 48.41 as they cross the straight for the 2 and the 94. We'll see what the 08 and that pack runs as soon as it updates for you here. The previous lap was a 49.16, so a little bit slower, losing about a second there a lap. And yeah, updates again, it's a 49.11, so still about a second off of the pace, but still everybody at least a half second or more, probably closer to six tenths or 7 tenths of a second off of everyone's best time of the night. But yeah, it's going to come down to that execution in that final pit stop, and we do have a
Oh,
yellow here,
oh,
William
right in front of the
Roberts.
leaders.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was right across. Luckily, he was quick and towed. That was terrifying, right across the nose of the leaders. And I'm gonna go back and take a look. And again, that was the group that these guys were trying to avoid being a lap down. And but yeah, I mean, I
wow,
went, I saw it as it was happening, and but he was quick on the brakes,
yeah,
and
yeah. So
yeah,
we've got it pulled
man,
up here, and yeah, just the 98 kind of hits him a little less than square, and then the 21 just unfortunately reacts to it and overcorrects, and just kind of keeps going back and forth. And yeah, I mean, a heads up move for him to make sure that he's not going to hit or not going to allow the leaders to hit him. But we'll see how close this truly was before he grids, and you can see the leaders there on the inside lane, just about maybe 3 car lengths before they get there. He takes the tow. So props to William. Obviously, that's going to put him in a bad position to get back to pit road, but the right decision there for him to tow and exit the car quickly in iRacing to allow the leaders to not have to deal with that. So that is going to jumble this pack back up and close the gap here for just about everybody on the lead pack, which goes all the way back to, at the moment, the 13th place car of Bud Steele, and the 7 of Philip Bridgman should be your lucky dog candidate.
yeah, no, I mean, this brings everybody back into the race here pretty much. So, and the other thing I got to commend William Roberts on there too is, obviously, like I said, the quick toe. But I was watching on your replay showed there, Boomer. You see those tires do not spin. He's got those things completely locked down, making absolutely sure. So that's one of those things we always kind of gripe about. It's like, hey, hold your brakes. There was no doubting that when he was on those brakes 100%. So yeah, really, really good job there by William there to keep that thing locked down. It sounds simple, but you'd be amazed how many people don't do that. So yeah, so no, it's like I said, I mean, that went from 5 cars to, like you said, we've got 14 now back in the mix after that caution. So, and I believe this is going to be like, I don't know if it's going to be a fuel strategy now to the finish here, Boomers. It's 22. We'll restart 20 to go on the dot. I think that's going to be in the window, but yeah, it's
It's
going to be one of those just to it on pretty much immediate or exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be really tight here for sure. And I'm kind of curious to see what the 10's going to do. So on Friday night, we did actually see a car have the opportunity to wave around the pace car and still make an opportunity to pit. And I think that's what the 10 of Justin Davis is going to do. Typically, if you are a wave around car, you're not going to get that opportunity. But in iRacing, obviously, there are provisions where it'll work. And we saw it happen on Friday night. I can't remember. It might have been Bud Steele or somebody. I don't remember exactly. It might have been Bud Steele, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. But the 10's going to get the wave around here. We'll have to wait and see if he can get that pit stop completed after that or not. Guile, I guess correct me if you understand better than I do on that, but typically I know it's not. Obviously, in NASCAR it wouldn't be allowed, but I believe there's some conditions where you could make it work in iRacing.
I'm curious. I'm actually not 100% sure on that one. So, we'll keep it on the 10 car for sure. So yeah, like you said, he should wave here, get back on the lead lap, and then yeah, we'll watch and see if he does. It also looks like we've got pretty much the field all going ahead and top off, and to me that says we're very tight on fuel. And what this also means here, Boomer, is we're going to have a completely single file restart, which again, we talked about the accordion concerns.
Oh, it's
So
gonna get
that's
bad.
going to be very interesting. Let's restart it again. Everybody's going to have to try to be patient and then try to get rolling at the right time. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. But yeah, Philip Bridgman, he's catching up out of 3 and 4. He's going to, I would think, come in and splash as well. Yep, here he comes.
Yeah.
And we'll wait for Justin Davis, but he's just now starting to roll around the pace car. So he's going to have a lot of pedaling to do in that 10 car. It looks like Cody Gaber going to stay 1-2 coming out of pit road.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't remember exactly who it was on Friday night a couple nights ago here, but someone was able to do this same exact thing and then come down pit road. Though when they came into pit road, it was closed. Obviously, per NASCAR's rules, you wouldn't be allowed to pit if you are going to choose to do a wave around. But there are opportunities here. I mean, Justin Davis last pit on lap 38. So if he doesn't pit here, he's going to be in a very tough situation, and it does actually look like he's going to stay out. So we had seen on Friday night where someone did come back down at this point, and because of that, they were able to get service done to their vehicle. They did come down pit road when the pit road was closed, and the only penalty at that point within iRacing rules was that they would be tail end of the lead lap. But yeah, well, it's another caution here. It's a little bit later than the first one. Obviously, we had a quick yellow and went quite a ways to green flag pit stops before the next one. But it is time for another shout out to one of our great sponsors, and that is going to be Whiplash SimCams this time. And we'll be right back for the final laps of this race tonight. We interrupt your commercial break to bring you back to live green flag action. The 88 of Gabe Butler is going to be the lead car. Apologies. We were not paying attention to the pace car, and lights were not still on, so we'll hear from Whiplash SimCams once again if we do get another yellow, but green flag out on the speedway.
And Boomer, it's the race of who doesn't want to lead the race. To me, that means we are tight on fuel. And this is when things get a little more dangerous as well, because then when you're doing all of this, everybody's going to be kind of trying to jockey around and kind of where can I put myself in to be the best spot to fuel save. And yeah, this pace is just tremendously slow right now. Nobody wants to lead this race right now. And this is just going to cause a bit of havoc, I think. as here comes the 10 of Justin Davis on pit road. So maybe he was just saying, all right, get my lap back. I'm going to jump on pit road. I shouldn't lose a lap. And that way, if he does get trapped another lap down, he can just roll back out again. So, but yeah, right now though, just again, it's the race that nobody wants to lead right now. Gabe has got to the top spot once more, but I'm gonna be watching Gabe and see what pace of the race do we get here, because this might be one of those things where you just yeah, I think they're just gonna be on cruise control, but we'll wait and see here. We are down into under 20 to go here, 19 at the line, so yeah, I'm very intrigued because like I said, nobody wanted a lead right there.
Yeah, and we pulled the dashboard up just to show. I mean, Gabe Butler's still running 200 miles an hour, 201 in the draft here, so I think at this point he is probably full
Oh,
swung.
here comes the Nightmare guys. Actually, they're coming in pit road now. So they were didn't think they could make it, so they're going to come in now, and they're just going to get again. I mean, that's what 2 laps after the start. They're splashing now.
Yeah, so they think that this is the point where they can go to the end, which I think absolutely that number is open. I'm curious if anybody's going to try and save enough fuel to get to the end. It seems, yeah, I don't even know, like 50-50 to me whether or not staying out is the right move. I think if you're further back in this pack, of this lead pack, and can save a little bit more than like obviously Gabe Butler can, I think you might be in a position to be able to go the distance, but it's going to be tough. But I'm curious. I mean, the guaranteed, of the fuel is going to be with the Nightmare Esports guys, and we'll see if it pays off. I'm curious to see now who has the opportunity to save the fuel, like my friend Gael Brooks is so good at doing. So I guess Gael, I know you've done this. I mean, probably every race that I've seen you in, whether I was in the booth or behind the wheel. But what are you trying to do in this moment to try and save enough fuel to get to the end?
So obviously, if you're Gabe, you might be the sacrificial lamb. But like, so I'm gonna say I'm focused right now is on Maxwell. Is he's got a pretty good gap built between him and Eric Laurie in front of him. But basically, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be throttling up and then lifting and throttling up and lifting. You want to be obviously as little throttle as you can, but you want to be holding it as steady as possible. So let's say if you can hold it at 60%, you want to be trying to stay right at that pedal number, and try to keep it as accurately there as you can. That way, again, you're not kind of gassing it up a little bit and lifting, because it's going to burn more fuel kind of with that acceleration. So yeah, the least amount of input back and forth you can do for sure is the better. And yeah, so no, it's going to be very intriguing right now, because it's going to be right now. It looks like it's not quite actually, it's a little over half a lap when I'm looking at here, because they're at the middle of Trialville now. They're about to hit the start finish line pretty much right now as the leaders are coming out of 4. So they've got a lot of time to make up. Looks like about 31, 32 seconds. Nope. Actually, here's your answer. I don't think anybody's going to try to fuel save. The rest of the field all on pit
They're
road now.
down.
Now the question is, was that too long of a wait to respond?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think the biggest benefit is that this is a much larger pack. You get double the size of the pack that came down with Nightmare Esports. So hopefully that helps. I think one thing, honestly, unfortunately, Gary Huffines, Philip Bridgman, Bud Steele, I think they're the opposite of the catbird seat, whatever that is. I can't think of the word right now, but I think they're in a little bit of trouble here, waiting later than anybody else, and this pack not being the biggest to be able to get out there. And obviously the 10 has already made what should be his final stop of the night. But nope, okay, they're going to come back down again, so at least they're not going too many more laps. So I think this is a smart move to come in now, this time, after watching what will be these guys coming out. So you'll see Nightmare Esports is going to very easily get around these drivers, and they were the ones that were first to pit. And we saw on Friday night where that made a huge difference. If you were the first ones to pit, you were able to get out ahead, and we'll keep an eye on the gaps that we see and whether or not the Nightmare Esports guys are going to be able to break away. I don't think that's going to be the case. There's enough of a pack here with some TW Motorsports guys. Obviously, Gabe Butler for Bootnaka and the 94 for 1320 Enterprises. I think the 071 is just going to be too far back to hold on to this pack, and he'll probably fall back to Bob Fitzgerald here. But most of this lead pack is going to be at least, I think, the top 9 or so, maybe top 8 in this group.
Yeah, and also I think that group with Philip Bridgman, they're not going to tag on there as well. So, and I think it's going to be the same thing. Hopefully, they can tag on with Eric Laurie as well as Bob Fitzgerald. So, I mean, again, they won't be in the main pack, but again, limiting damage on that one. So, yeah, unfortunately, and saying the one that got the worst of wear on that one was Todd Merkel. And again, I'm looking at the pit stop and I'm seeing a 15-second pit stop for Todd Merkel. That screams 4 tires to me. So again, I think just unfortunately a miscue of not getting those tires off and having it be fuel only is what's going to do him in there.
Yeah.
As again, I'm not sure the strategy here. Boomer Everybody was just trying to jockey around for position, and again, though Gabe's not taking the bait, he is going to lock in right behind a couple of the teammates there and just keep them split up. And you can see right now, I mean, you've got Gabe pushing the 14, now you got Maxwell pushing the 41. And yeah, this is interesting here. Again, they all pitted, so we should be good on fuel, but it still seems to be this race of trying to figure out, okay, who's gonna go where, which dancing partners do you want? A lot of gamesmanship and strategy here. Like I said, being played by one, and then the other say not so fast. And I was about to say, wait, no, we shouldn't be doing another set of pit stops, but no, that's just the 14 here rolling to the apron, and he's gonna make sure he falls all the way back. But that's great news for Bud Steele, Philip
Yeah.
Bridgman, Bob Fitzgerald, Larry Clory. We've got the field back here now, Boomer. We got 12 cars now vying for the win of this race.
And they're going to have a little bit of a run here. We'll see if the 7 and the 6 move to the high side or if they're just going to stay in line. It looks like they're starting to even out on speed. But yeah, that puts the top 12 in contention for this race win with 12 laps to go. And yeah, I think it puts a few more teammates into the mix together here. It looks like we've got the 071 does have a teammate in Gabe Butler further on up the field. The 08 is going to have more of his teammates up in this group as well. And the 10 of Justin Davis, he does have the 7. He did have the 7 as well of Philip Bridgman. So they are still working together. But Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, Tom Dixon for TW Motorsports in this group. Obviously, Bud Steele is the lone entry for Roswell tonight. And then Nightmare Esports, you know that group. We've been talking about them pretty much all night long. And then Bootnock is going to have 2 of their drivers in this pack. 1320 Enterprises driver Maxwell Caldwell, and that should be everybody in this lead pack at the moment here.
And this is where we kind of joke about I wouldn't say, I'm trying to remember the team now, where you have like the affiliated teams where it's like, oh yeah, I'm this team, but I actually have Hendrick parts or Childress parts or whatever. Is maybe looking at seeing you can find some kind of quote unquote teammates that aren't official teammates, but you work really well with together. Or kind of I've always thrown out the example of Tony Stewart Dale Jr. in the Busch Xfinity O'Reilly, whatever you want to call it, series. And yeah, maybe they work together where it's like, okay, Gabe and Dean, we know how well those two work together. As soon as I say that, Dean's peaking low on Gabe. We know Maxwell loves to try to beat Gabe at races, but maybe he's like, hey, you know what? Let's try to beat those guys by working together. But then, like you said, for on the TW side, though, they do have the trio. So, I mean, they got Dean there. They have the 08 there, Bob Fitzgerald. He's right there with them. Tom Dixon's in that group as well. So they do have 3 there that they can work with as well. So, yeah, there's definitely numbers to be had. So yeah, it'll be fun to see. You can see TW is already trying to work that middle lane at the moment. So yeah, so we'll be keeping an eye on them. And unfortunately, I said the odd man out right now is that 2 of Todd Merkel. He's off on his own. And then unfortunately, we do have 2 retirements. You can see him on the timing scoring on the left, including Gary Huffines and Will Roberts there in the 21.
Yeah, 2 additional retirements there because obviously Brandon Briggs retires early on, much a while ago back in this race. But Gael, I think I prefer the Sportsman division when you're talking about the NASCAR's second tier series. But obviously, it's changed names so many times from Busch to Nationwide, Xfinity, O'Reilly Auto Parts. Obviously, it's easy to get tripped up with that. But these are Cup cars, that we're running here tonight. Obviously, the Gen 6, so at least one generation ago. previous iteration to what they're running now in the Cup Series, but still a pretty similar style of car as far as the next gen goes. And we actually see a pretty good effort for the TW Motorsports drivers on the inside lane, the 55, the 08, and the 411, able to get to the door of the 88. We'll see down the back straightaway what Gabe Butler can do to try and get back ahead, and you see that surge as the top moves forward there. The 10 and the 7 are teammates, and obviously the 10 is one lap down, but like you mentioned, it's a bit of a jumble as far as teammates go. The 88 and the 94 for separate teams don't really have any other teammates. Obviously the 071 further on back, teammate to the 88 in this pack, but not there working with him now. So we'll see. Sometimes, like you mentioned, the Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, and other, teammate or likely pairings for teammates can happen, and we'll see. It looks like Gabe Butler and the 94 are working pretty well right now.
Yeah, and Eric Laurie just grabbed a couple spots, dropped in low, stole some draft, hopped right up in front of Cody behind Philip Bridgman. So yeah, so again, everybody's trying to find those positions, and it's one of those ones where it's not the if but when we're gonna see those teammates try to make a charge from the Nightmare group. But like I said though, I think this is the race that I've seen a lot of change coming from the other guys. Okay, we got to figure out how we're going to do this a little differently, make their life a little bit more difficult. Gabe has definitely by far been the most obvious, where he's been able to kind of try to be that wrench in their sides to, like, yeah, I know you guys want to run away with this one. I'm not letting it happen so easily. So yeah, so Gabe doing a good job, like I said, now, like you mentioned, working with Maxwell here, because next time by we will be down to 5 to go. And yeah, you mentioned the drafting package, and I do feel like it's very similar with these versus the next gen cars, where we talk about being aggressive is definitely the way to success with these, where you make those big pushes and the big side drafts and things like that. And here you go. I'm seeing the move start to happen. The 16 drops down the 41. They picked up the 14 and the 78. And so now we'll wait for the reaction. Who's going to be the first to try to see if they can cut down in line? Or are they going to just maybe try to keep those guys pinned to the inside line? Because it's always been kind of committed top. Oh, Maxwell, big move to the inside.
Yeah, that was not a late move, but definitely an aggressive one for the 94. He's going to get ahead of the 16, and man, you can see how much momentum they've been able to keep. And I want to mention, you saw the two cars there for TW Motorsports in the inside lane. The outside lane wasn't nearly as organized as they potentially could have been, and I think that was what seems to be the secret sauce for those Nightmare Esports drivers. You see, they're going to shed that number 94 here to the back of this pack. They're going to be a little segmented, as the 78 is going to actually stay in that outside line, but it's interesting to see. We are actually seeing a little more of that inside line being able to challenge the outside here. And oh no, Gabe Butler's going to get shuffled to the middle, and there's going to be a wreck. The 411's around, and that's going to be a caution.
Yeah, unfortunately, just everybody got a little bit unsettled there, and yeah, unfortunate couple involved. The one we got to focus on this one is gonna be the 10 car. Did Justin Davis get through unscathed? Because I believe I'm trying to remember if he was on the lead lap. I thought he was still one down.
Yeah,
So that's going to be important. I think he may have just been ahead of it barely.
Yeah, he was.
So we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, he was. We're watching the replay now, and it looks like, yeah, the 7, the 411, 071 go for a spin. Bud Steele getting caught up in it. The 08 getting through okay, the 94 as well, but just like looks like just about a 4-car incident. Actually, I say that, and 94 does make a little late contact with the 6. Oh, that destroys the left front of Bud Steele, and that will be a 5-car pile up here.
I'm a little nervous actually about that 10 car, because I think I saw a little bit of contact between the between the 7 and the 10 before the wreck happened. And I'm trying to look at it a little closer. Yeah, the 7 gives a bump. I think, unfortunately, I think the 10 is going to get kind of put in a bad spot here, and most likely actually not get the wave around on this one, because it's going to give him an incident point. And I also just watched the 78 there of Evan Carlbon there. That's inches that he didn't get involved in that one. And there's definitely going to be some fast pairs, like you mentioned, like I think probably Maxwell Caldwell is going to need one. So yeah. So no, everybody was starting to, like I said, everybody was making their moves, and just a little bit of a mistake, unfortunately. So We'll see. So far, no takers. Looks like Eric Lorry's going to be the first. Like I said, I think these are guys involved in the wreck that are going to go ahead and hop into the pit road. And then, yeah, like I said, I'll be watching the 10, but I don't think he's going to get that wave here, unfortunately.
Yeah, the only saving grace for the 10 would be that you do see contact from the back of the car, from yeah, Bud Steele getting trouble getting in his pit stall with that left front damage. You could see it wobbling all over the place. But the only saving grace could be that the 10, you see a little more, little more grace as far as incident points go on the super speedways when it comes to front to rear contact with all the drafting that happens here. So hopefully for his case that is it, and he can get that lucky dog, and it actually looks like he's already committed to a pit stop here. So I don't think the 10 actually no.
Yeah, he did not go around.
He did
So
not
no,
go. Yeah,
unfortunately,
he's not going to get
he's
the
still
wave
going to be
around.
stuck
So
one down. Yeah.
yeah, does that give the lucky dog to Gary Huffines, or no? That's
No,
it.
those guys are all
Yeah, they're
out.
already
Yeah,
retired.
but
Yeah,
no, unfortunately, Justin's just it's just unlucky. He did nothing wrong, but unfortunately, isn't going to get a benefit from it. So, yeah, it's just tough breaking line again. I mean, it's it's the rules that we have, because the problem is as soon as you make an exception, like, oh well, yes, he was involved in it, but he wasn't really involved in it, and it's going to be one of those ones where then someone else in the future is like, oh well, why didn't I get the wave? I wasn't involved in it. Just it's one of those things where the simpler it is, the better it is, unfortunately. And so yeah, it just makes it tough for Justin there. And sometimes, unfortunately, the rules maybe benefit you. Sometimes, unfortunately, in this case for him, obviously you can see kind of didn't go the way he wants to. So I believe, Boomer, though, I'm not sure if this will be an official or unofficial. I think it will be an official, one of the two attempts, though, of a green white checkered finish here.
it looks like it's panning out to be, and the
Because, yeah,
six.
we're 3 to go now. So,
Yep.
yeah, so no, this will be attempt number 1. So, only 2 attempts, though. So, again, that's going to be the other part of this one, is to make sure that they got to get to the white before it's official. So, there could be one more attempt after this one.
Yeah, so with that, the lights are still on the pace car, so we should have enough time to get in that full commercial for Whiplash Sim Cam. So we'll do that now, and we'll bring you back for what could be the first green white checkered attempt tonight. It'll be the 16 that will be in control of this restart here, and it should be the first attempt again at a green-white checkered. It's going to be his teammate to the outside, and just behind him there, Dean Wilkinson in the 4th position, Gabe Butler in the 5th, Evan Carlbin in the 6th position, Bob Fitzgerald, Todd Merkel, Maxwell Caldwell, Tom Dixon, your top 10 as they restart. And most of these drivers are going to be side by side. Only a couple coming down pit road to get a little bit of extra fuel or service done to their machines. And we are just about ready to go here in what should be, again, the first green-white checkered attempt.
All right, waiting for that hit that restart zone. We got teammates lined up on 3 of the top 4 spots. And here you go, down and away. Great jump there by the 16 and the 14. Now we got to see what the assembly is going to look like, because, again, they're going to try to split the rest of the guys up here. And like I said, that's where these other drivers are going to try to keep that 78 out of the running if they can. but we'll see. Like I said, it's been all about the top side. I feel like has been the name of the game this season to me, Boomer. So we'll see what they can do. You see the 78, he has gone to the top side, and it looks like they're staying pretty much committed up there. Gabe and Dean going to stay locked in on the inside here. Like I said, I think those two are going to try to do all they can together. We'll have to wait for some momentum shifts to happen from, let's say, the obviously we know Maxwell's going to be in the mix here at some point in this one, so just got to wait and see here. See again, first they got to get to the white before they try to race it to the finish.
The inside lane has a decent amount of momentum, but the outside lane is 4 drivers strong for Nightmare Esports, followed by Todd Merkel in that too. The Dean Wilkinson machine of the 55, the 88, sorry, in the inside lane there. White flag is out on the speedway. We're going to see if it's going to be a 1 through 4 sweep or if anybody's going to have anything else to say about these Nightmare Esports drivers at the front of this field.
Yeah, right now you can see there is just no momentum shifting on the outside or on the inside lane. So right now it's definitely looking good, like you said. And saying they've talked about it. We'll see now at some point. Are we going to see John try to make a move on Cody if they have enough of a gap, feel comfortable behind him? Because you can see that second lane, it's already fizzled out. So it's right now it's the 411 and the 2.
Yeah,
yep, there they go.
Goes to the bottom, and we know that the rules are if you can make a move and guarantee that the race is going to be a victory for you, they're going to cross the stripe almost 4 wide. Vicente Guerrero gets the run off of turn 4. He knows at that point it's guaranteed it's going to be a Nightmare Esports win if they don't wreck, and he gets the checkered flag just ahead of his teammate Cody Nagels.
Yeah, it was a great fight there, and they said they're going to fight each other as hard as humanly possible at the end there. And we mentioned, it's going to be one of them's going to try to steal some of the wins away from their teammates. We mentioned John's got one, Landon's got one, Cody has got a couple, so now Vince got one now under his belt, and now that means Evan's going to be like, all right, you guys all got yours. I want to figure out, I got to find a way to knock you guys down a peg too.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun effort for these guys, and man, it is incredibly impressive to see how much they have controlled each race and pretty much this whole season so far. But yeah, a great win for Vicente Guerrero off of turn 4. There are no rules as long as the team can get a victory. The 41 makes the move to go to the bottom, and he gets to the line just ahead of Cody Nagels by 0.03 of a second. Carlman in third there, just about a 0.5 back, and then Ellis just off of that as well. So we'll bring up the final race results here for you and show you everything that we saw throughout the race. Vicente Guerrero again getting that win. It's going to be a 4-driver burnout for the top 4 placings. Vicente Guerrero, Cody Nagels, Evan Carlman, John Ellis. Todd Merkel is going to be the first driver in the top 5, not from Nightmare Esports. He's from 1320 Racing Enterprises. Tom Dixon races for TW Motorsports, his teammate just behind him there in the 6th and 7th position. Solid top 10s for them. Gabe Butler, a very valiant effort for himself, but unfortunately just not enough drivers to work with to push him towards the front of the pack. Obviously, he was in the middle of the Nightmare Esports crew for quite a bit of this race, and a solid top 10 for him tonight, finishing in the 8th position for that 88. Bob Fitzgerald there in the 08 benefited from that late caution, but still comes home to a solid top 10 finish, and so does Eric Laurie in that 071. Just outside the top 10 is going to be the 7 of Philip Bridgman here, working with the underdogs tonight. Bud Steele for Roswell Motorsports, the lone entry for the team in that 12th position. And then we see Maxwell Caldwell, one of the 1320 Enterprises drivers. He's going to be in the lucky number 13th spot for tonight's race. Justin Davis there, we mentioned there, just getting caught up about a lap down and unfortunately never able to recover from that later on. And then the retirees that we saw earlier on in the race, Gary Huffines and William Roberts, 16 and 25 laps down respectively from early retirements, as well as Brandon Briggs, our first retiree, at 51 laps down. So with that, we've got a couple drivers that we have to interview here, and I think, who knows, we had a top 4 sweep and it was pretty close to the line. So why don't we bring them all up here and have some fun in the broadcast booth with Nightmare Esports. Taking a second here just to bring them all in and get ready. But yeah, so we'll do a rare top four interview, and just because it was a team sweep. But we'll start with John Ellis. John coming in that fourth position there. Yeah, take us through. Obviously, you guys had a pretty good execution. Looks like you guys were in the later stages in a position to race to the win with Gabe Butler in the mix, but the four of you lined up in that pack, and then obviously the caution comes out, and you guys rally to still get that top four finish. So, John, take it away.
This one was interesting. First of all, good race. Really fun. We enjoyed it. Pretty clean. But yeah, we were. It was pretty much going to be a strategy race. We were talking the whole time about what strategy to do because it was going to be, for one, it was a fuel mileage race, but then also we wanted to try and shuffle Gabe out and whoever else was with us just to break up the pack. So we decided to short pit with like I don't know, I think like 19 to go or something like that. Um, thought it was a great idea, and then we quickly realized that it was going to be really hard for us to get to the finish. So we were trying to save fuel and shuffle each other around just so the leader wasn't burning too much. So it was going to be interesting if it didn't go, or if it did go green. But we did get that caution that got everyone back together, and then we just kind of raced it out towards to the end. We were lined up, 1, 2, 3, 4, coming to the last lap, and we were trying to spread the love and get Vince or Evan a win here. So we had them go to the bottom, and me and Cody just stayed up and protected both lanes basically to guarantee the win, and then hopefully get the top four lockout, which we barely got. We barely hung on to. So good race.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a pretty solid effort for you guys. I mean, obviously the late caution was probably not something that you wanted to see, but I'll turn it over to Evan now. Seems like you guys had an opportunity to pit early. We were really curious if anybody was going to be able to make it on fuel, and you guys answered that question pretty quickly. But I think by then, obviously, you weren't really worried, Evan, when you guys pit that there was going to be anybody that could try and stretch it the rest of the way for fuel.
I mean, we were always conversating about it. We were always just because you can never know what happens in super speedway racing. All the variables can just there could be so many variables when it comes to this kind of stuff. But yeah, it was just teamwork. We leaned on Cody. We leaned on our evil genius John Ellis. He had some great strategies in mind. We just couldn't get to play them, so we'll have to use that for another rainy day. But yeah, it was just all about teamwork. This one, we were short one member this week because our dear friend Landon Velke is in Atlanta right now having some fun. But other than that, it's finally good to get a P3, get an interview, get a good finish doing this stuff. I really enjoy this league. Really enjoy racing with these guys. My so-called teammates in this part of the league and other leagues, we are all good buddies. But yeah, it was just all around. I'm ready to win next week, so the competition better look out. And I'm happy to see Mr. No Presta Vicente. He missed the grid and still won the race. So
Yeah, definitely. So we'll keep with you here for a second, Evan. Obviously, I love the paint scheme. Channeling the 78 in the Cup Series. Love to see that. And you got the free Trev hashtag all over that car. So maybe take us a second and try to explain what that's all about.
funny story. So yeah, during the qualifying to the PGR SummerSlam back in August, my actual teammate in that scene, Trevor Asmanoff, he got eliminated by something that I think that wasn't his fault, and everybody on our team was going after the promoters, which we shouldn't have, but we was just like we were mad because Trev was a scapegoat for something, and I told him, and he's my painter, so I told him just put free Trev on the car for this event, and we're going places. We ended up getting a 7th place finish, and I've gotten my first podium in PGR with this car. It's a very much a good omen on a very topsy turvy money racing career that I've had. But I mean, yeah, I rocked the 78. It's my lucky number. I love BJ McLeod. That's about all I got to say with that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Definitely, big BJ McLeod fan myself, so I love to see you channeling that number and the paint scheme there. A lot of fun, and man, somebody else who's got a very beautiful looking machine tonight. That is the Camaro of Cody Nagels, and that number 16. Obviously, a really solid finish for you tonight. Just edged out by your teammate, which we'll talk to in a second. But man, Cody, beautiful car. Obviously, also near and dear to my heart. Big Dale Jr. fan my entire career or life, I should say. But yeah, go ahead and why don't you explain how you got to that second place finish?
Yeah, I owe it all to the guys tonight. I mean, we've had a strong season, and I owe all the success that I've had and the success that we've had in Area 51 all belongs to the guys that are in here right now. It's just been very consistent, and it seems like we've been able to execute whatever strategy that we put forth for the team. We had a few different ideas going out in this race, but then when the caution came out, it kind of made us have to call an audible on it, and we pitted almost too early. But I'm glad we got it done, and I'm glad I got to do it in a Dale Jr. inspired scheme. Oh, and I see Trev in chat. So, what up, bro? I'm gonna see Trev actually and Evan. We're all going to Dega in the spring, so we're gonna have a good old time.
Yeah, no, obviously saw him jump in there, so definitely good to see some people in the chat and hanging out. But yeah, Cody, it was obviously you guys have always preached. I think as long as you know that once you can guarantee the team is going to get the win, then at that point it's all anything's game. And it looks like obviously Vicente kind of took advantage of that. But do is that something team wise? Is that something that you call out, or you just kind of let everyone give in, the judgment there, or what's the strategy? Is there a point on the track where that's fair game there, Cody?
It all depends on where the other drivers around us are. In this race, they were a little bit more bunched up. If it would have been green and we had the field stretched out, we would have done it earlier. But this one, it was probably safe out of 4 to race. But yeah, it kind of varies. But we also trust each other's judgment to not hang each other out too soon. And so far, it seems like it's been working out pretty well.
Working out pretty well indeed, as you guys have, and absolutely, dominating so far this season. But it is the number 41 of Vicente Guerrero. Vince, you got the win tonight. You beat your teammates to the line and still had a top 4 finish. Why don't you take us through your version of events for tonight?
It was pretty much fighters take it easy for me. I missed a start. I don't know what we're talking about drinking and stuff like that, and I was like, man, that remind me. I just purchased a drinking package for the Carnival cruise that we're gonna be on, and so I got to talking with them during stage for the race, and man, I lost track and I missed the grid. But yeah, overall, the racing was good. It was fun. It was like, like everybody said, it was a strategy race there, and then that last fuel run, I was even scared when Cody called it out, let's pit, and I didn't think second of it, but it started looking at my laps, and the mileage, and we're like, man, I feel like we're barely there, so we were just trying to save a little bit there, and luckily there was a late caution, and then just brought us closer. I think if there was another caution, we would have been really close to make that final. If not, would have to probably pit. So, but I had enough still to do some burnouts there at the end. But man, it was crazy, crazy race. I'm glad that I, you know, got the win tonight. Couldn't have done it with the teammates. Evan gave me a pretty good shove out of 4 there, and I was getting kind of scared there because I kind of drifted up to Cody, and man, I think if it wasn't Cody, if it was somebody else, he probably would have lost it, or we probably would have wrecked. But yeah, inched them out, and we just tried to cover all the spots there, and we did 1, 2, 3, 4, and couldn't have done it without him, like I said.
Yeah, definitely. So for us non-Spanish speakers, you'll have to educate us on the hashtag no presta. Obviously, Trev threw that in the chat, and I've heard that thrown around a couple times. But explain what that's all about and where that started.
Na Presta started with my good friend Billy Azevedo. He was my coworker there at JM Equipment, and every time something came up and it wasn't good, he kept saying Na Presta, and so I picked up on it. So that's Portuguese. And Faj take it easy too. It was another saying that he used to say. Faj take it easy. So all that came from Billy.
Good deal. Well, fun story indeed. And yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen you guys pretty much execute near perfection so far. Obviously, coming home with the top four, and like we said, we gave a chance to give you guys a top four interview, which is typically we'll do the top three, but figured with the team doing as well as they have, give you guys a little bit of all air time. So we'll turn it back to John. Obviously, you know what it's time for. It's that red carpet rollout, and give you a chance for any thanks or shout outs to give for the fourth place finish here tonight, John.
Yeah, just want to thank you guys as always. Put on a great broadcast. Sorry. Thank all the admins that put this together. Like I say every time, I run out of things to say, but enjoying this league so far. My first year, and no complaints, man. Everyone's been real nice, and bunch of good group of drivers. So just really want to thank everyone involved in the league, the broadcast, and then of course the teammates. Man, we've been firing on all cylinders so far. So just want to keep it up.
Awesome. Well, now, hey, we'll roll it up to Evan, third place. What do you got for us?
Shout out to Cody, John, Vince, Landon, all the guys that we work with as teammates and our nightmare guys in this league. Shout out to the Jack Shack for being like my confidence booster when it comes to racing anything else. The Shack is not quite rocking, but we got a podium, so we can rock a little bit. Shout out Trev. He's currently on a ban from my racing, so a free Trev that works out well with my paint scheme. And yeah, shout out to the Area 51 guys. They're such a good league. They run this league very well. Not quite the biggest turnout tonight, but hey, you can't win them all. So it's but yeah, I love this league. Cody hit me up a while ago and said, "Hey, you want to run this league?" And I said, "Might as well." So yeah, and shout out to Vince. Good win. That's about it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, obviously free Trev indeed, and congratulations to you. And we'll roll out the Budweiser red carpet for Mr. Cody Nagel's second place finish.
Yeah, so obviously I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast every week. I want to thank Charles and Bud and everyone at Area 51, Dean, for what they do. I want to thank everyone at Nightmare. Got to thank my other teams that I run with and are associated with, MBG Motorsports, Jack Shack, and again, just a big special shout out to the guys that I run with in this league, though, because the success isn't possible without them, and I want to thank them for all the hard work that they put in and week out. And it looks like we're, well on our way to achieving what we want to.
Indeed, obviously, with the top four finish tonight, obviously, filling those goals like you mentioned, and then we'll turn it over to Vicente. Got a chance for you to give any thanks or shoutouts for that race win here tonight.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys, Gail and Boomer, for broadcasting. Can't wait to watch this one back. I want to thank Area 51 for putting on this league and all their admins. Really appreciate all the guys racing here, participating, everybody watching, especially. And I want a huge shout out to our team, Cody, Evan, John, and Landon. He's probably a whole lot of nut presser right now, but a huge shout out to him. Hope he's having fun. I want to thank my my sponsor on my car, Vince Service and Repair. They put me a nice paint scheme, and everybody at the shop, man, they did a hell of a job on the car. And I also want to thank Evan for a hell of a push, and definitely free Trev. So oh, and I can't forget my wife too, man. She'll be mad if I don't mention her. I want to thank her. I want to thank her for letting me do what I do here, and my family out in Arizona. Love you, mom and dad.
Definitely. Well, congratulations, Vince. Obviously, no stranger to winning here at Area 51, especially lately, but the first time here on Sunday nights and a solid finish for the Nightmare Esports Group. Appreciate talking to all you guys. Wish you all the best, and hopefully get a chance to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, Gael, that was a fun race that we got to call here tonight. Went into overtime and got a green-white checkered finish, as is synonymous with our name here at Green White Checkered TV. And man, it is going to be really hard to beat some of these Nightmare Esports guys, I think, through the rest of the season here.
Yeah, there might be a reason behind their name is that they are a nightmare to the other teams and drivers, and it's kind of fun to think about though. Was yeah, I mean they kind of had their game plan. Like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then as soon as they did it, it was one of those like, oh, did we do this too soon? And so like even them, like they're stretching the boundaries of what they need to do to try to win these races. So it's one of those things where like we talked about, drivers the other teams, I feel like they definitely some drivers did definitely step that game up. Like you mentioned, Gabe for sure. I mean, he was the thorn in their side that whole way there, up until that late yellow. And then, I mean, we saw it was a really good attempt by a handful of those guys to try to make that move, but just again, the inside line just isn't there. And so, like I said, I think that's going to be what they have to figure out is okay, the low line doesn't work. How tight do you maybe run that outside line? And like I said, it's going to probably be a risk versus reward type move that's going to maybe break up that top spot.
Yeah, definitely great execution from the Nightmare Esports guys. We saw after the final yellow, obviously, but well, I'll back it up. Before that final yellow, we saw the Nightmare Esports guys with Gabe Butler there in that pack of 5 that would have been, racing to the finish there with one pit stop to go, and yellow comes out, and obviously jumbles up the mix a little bit, and I mean Nightmare Esports comes right back to the front and gets the opportunity to get that race win. So, I mean, it's definitely been tough to beat these guys. I know, obviously, a little bit less participation than we've seen in the past for some of the teams here, and obviously, I mean, always like to mention, I think this is just a page from the Team Bootnaka Esports book from years gone by of, getting a chance to work with your teammates. And I mean, like I said, if I've heard Gabe Butler say you're nothing without your teammates, I've probably heard it at least probably 50 to 100 times, and that's seriously, honestly. But they're definitely executing it the best at this time in the series, and it's kind of fun and exciting to watch. But we'll see. I mean, it still is a chance for anybody to try and knock them off their game, but they're definitely at the top of it at the moment. So, yeah, we are still looking forward to quite a bit of racing left this season. Obviously, got to give a shout out as always to IndyCar on the Tuesday night, the Area 51 Racing Series there. They're celebrating their 20th season, and a big shout out to P1 Broadcasting for all that they're doing and all the great coverage that they have as well. So, big shout out to P1 Broadcasting for everything that they do to help us out on the Tuesday side of things, and appreciate them. So they'll be, I think they've got Nashville in 2 days, so they'll be at Nashville. I'm assuming the Superspeedway, not the fairgrounds. Then they've got Kansas on March 3rd and Daytona Road Course on March 24th. But they're well into their season as well, and we'll bring up, so obviously starting with Sunday, we've got the schedule here. We'll bring that graphic up. So we did race, tonight was the 22nd of February, so that is Talladega. Then we're going to Atlanta and iRacing Super Speedway next, so those will be the next 2 weeks. Then we'll get into Daytona, Talladega before we get to those playoffs of Atlanta, Daytona, Atlanta, Talladega. So we'll have a couple more races here for you before we have to really get into the mix of that point standings and get that top 12 locked into the playoffs for the final 4 races of this season. But exciting race coming up next week there on March 1st there at Atlanta. We'll bring up the Friday point schedule now. Same thing, just 2 days prior. So Atlanta on February 27th, 2 days before the next race here on Sunday nights. iRacing Super Speedway, Daytona, Talladega, and the same gambit for the playoffs. So really easy, makes it easy at least for us that the schedule is the same for Fridays and Sundays on the Super Speedway side of things, and we're looking forward to which should be a good race at Atlanta. Obviously, we saw the Cup Series race there this night or tonight at Atlanta, and it's a little bit of a unique oval as far as restrictor plate or drafting track racing, whatever you want to call it. But it's a lot of fun for us to get to watch here on Green White Checkered TV. And yeah, I guess before we turn it over, any closing thoughts there for Mr. Gael Brooks?
No, I'm excited. Like I said, the next 2 weeks, like I said, those are going to be the kind of the outliers, if you will, of the races. I say Atlanta's always its own animal. I had a pretty good run going there in the trucks, and then obviously it didn't end as well as I was hoping for. And then I mean, iRacing, super speed. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, it's to probably 30-ish. I want to say. I'll be curious to see what these the Gen 6 cars do. I don't know if they're restricted or not, but I mean, if they're going 201 here, I feel like they should be hauling the mail over there. So I'm excited to see what we got in store for that one for sure. I think that's the one I got circled.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Obviously, that'll be in 2 weeks' time, as we mentioned. But I mean, all sorts of nostalgia. Obviously, I grew up playing NASCAR racing 2003, and it was the Coca-Cola Super Speedway at the time. But obviously, iRacing revamps it, re-releases it, and that'll be a fun race to watch. But yeah, we've got the 1.5 mile oval next at Atlanta, so definitely a lot of fun to watch that track. I mean, it is incredible to see the speeds, the the perspective of speed there is just so much different than it is at the 20 or the 2.5 2.6 mile tracks of Daytona and Talladega, so should make for a good race where handling means more than even what it did at Daytona back in the pre 2008 or so repave, where a lot of the bumps and a lot of the grip was added back, or at least the bumps were taken out and the grip was added back to the track. But yeah, should be a good race. Kind of a wild card, couple 2 weeks coming here for both of those races, but we're here for it, and we're looking forward to seeing it happen. So with that, that'll do it for this weekend. Plenty of action always on Green White Checker TV on your Fridays and your Sunday nights, bringing you the best of iRacing's league action here at the Super Speedways with Area 51. Don't forget our friends at P1 Broadcasting in Area 51 on Tuesdays. All the excitement over there as well, and we appreciate them for taking that off of our plate and doing a really good job doing it. So thanks to them, and I think that's just about all that we have to say for here tonight. For Green White Checkered, for myself, Boomer Logan, for my great friend Gael Brooks, we appreciate all of you watching back and all of you in the chat. Wish you all a very good week, and we'll take care and see you in the next one.